Good afternoon, everyone. New for you at 4. 3 people are behind bars after a woman claims she was kidnapped and forced to dig her own grave. 31-year-old Alicia Alanis faces charges of kidnapping and assault, among other things. 21-year-old Mariah and 39-year-old Joshua Adams are charged with making terroristic threats. Court documents say it happened last Friday night. Deputies were called when a crying woman knocked on a man's door saying she had just been kidnapped. That woman had on a coat but no shirt underneath and only one boot. Court documents say the victim told officers she asked Alanis to give her a ride to her Detroit Lakes apartment. But the locks had been changed, so she had to break a window to get in. The documents go on to say Bunker was inside, and he and Alanis drove the victim to a rural area, gave her a shovel, and told her to, quote, dig her own grave before assaulting her. A Fargo man has been arrested for burglary after allegedly breaking into a residence hall at Ndsu. Just before 5 this morning, Casey DeBoard contacted the Red River Regional Dispatch Center claiming someone had broken into his house. He told dispatchers he was leaving his house with an edged weapon. Then he called dispatch a second time, saying he was at NDSU's Niskanen Hall. Someone living there also called dispatch to report a man who broke a window in the entryway and entered the building. Fargo police found DeBoard in the 1800 block of 10th Street North. He was arrested for burglary. A man has been arrested in connection to a string of burglaries that took place throughout Cass County. 24-year-old Shelby Witt is facing multiple charges of burglary, and more charges are possible. Police say Witt was responsible for 6 commercial and industrial burglaries that took place back in December in West Fargo. Authorities have also determined Witt to be responsible for 3 business burglaries in Castleton and 2 in Horace, one of them being at a home. Fargo police are asking for help tracking down a 16-year-old runaway. Officials say Jamal Sheriff was last seen yesterday. If you have any information on where he may be, contact Fargo police. One person is dead after an apartment fire in Minot. The call came in just after midnight Sunday. Firefighters found smoke pouring in from a first-floor unit. Fire marshals still don't know exactly how it started, but they say the unit did not have a working smoke detector. Today's wind is expected to stick around, but for how long? That's a question for Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson. Hutch?
Stacy, thanks so much and good afternoon. As expected yesterday, we thought that wind would cause some travel troubles, and a look across portions of central North Dakota, northern North Dakota into northwest Minnesota showing the same. Reduced visibility. We have areas of blowing snow, and in North Dakota in particular, there are indications that we have some pretty sizable drifts forming in this northwest wind that's gusting upwards of 45 miles per hour. A look around the region showing Thief River Falls seeing the impacts of some snow as it's just beginning in portions of northwest Minnesota, and out near Grafton we have snow blowing over the road surface. Peak winds today, by the way, kissing 50 miles per hour along that Highway 52 corridor right into Carrington, 47 miles per hour there. Still in the 30th mile per hour category here in the Red River Valley in western Minnesota. Looking at the radar, passing bands of light snow, and it's reducing visibility in places to 1/4 mile in Rugby, 1 mile in Langdon, 1/2 mile in Grafton, and visibility is reduced now in portions of northwest Minnesota as well. Bottom line, travel slow. And log on to Valley News Live or get that Valley News Live weather app out and check the latest in road conditions before you go, because there are some areas of tricky travel. Winds presently still gusting to nearly 40 miles per hour. That will continue. Wind advisory has been extended into northwest Minnesota as we head into our evening hours. The wind, it's going to go away later tonight, Stacey. I'll have hour-by-hour details on that, but the cold takes hold and it sticks around for a while. I'll have the latest in your forecast in a moment.
All right, thanks, Hutch. President Biden continues to ratchet up the economic pressure on Russia today, taking the significant step of banning the import of Russian oil, natural gas, and coal into the U.S. The UN now says 2 million people have fled Ukraine since the invasion began. Natalie Brand has the latest from the White House.
The U.S. is now the first Western country to ban Russian energy imports in response to the invasion of Ukraine.
Russian oil will no longer be acceptable at U.S. ports, and the American people will deal another powerful blow to Putin's war machine.
The United Kingdom followed by announcing it will phase out use of Russian oil by the end of the year, though it's not yet known whether other European nations will take a similar step. Europe relies on Russia for about 40% of its energy supply, compared to the U.S., which depends on the country for less than 10% of its oil imports.
This is a step that we're taking to inflict further pain on Putin but there will be cost as well here in the United States.
As gas prices continue to soar to record levels, President Biden has vowed to do what he can to soften the economic impact while also warning energy companies not to price gouge. A new poll shows a majority of Americans support the ban, and there's bipartisan support on Capitol Hill.
I think it's important to deprive Russia of that income.
It's a very significant step to take to show the support that we have for Ukraine.
But the director of national intelligence told a House panel international sanctions combined with Ukraine's military resistance may not be enough to stop Moscow.
Putin is unlikely to be deterred by such setbacks and instead may escalate.
Hours after a Russian airstrike, a temporary ceasefire allowed some civilians to escape the city of Sumy in northeast Ukraine through a humanitarian corridor. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Today, President Biden called on Congress to approve his request for billions of dollars in humanitarian and military aid for Ukraine. The House is expected to take it up as part of a big government spending measure as soon as tomorrow. People around the world who are horrified by Russia's invasion of Ukraine are coming up with creative ways to help. Other companies, including Uber and Etsy, have also come up with ways.
Uber has basically said we're going to give free rides to people who are at the Ukrainian-Polish border, and Uber users here in the U.S. can give through the app. Etsy said no fees for people who are selling stuff who are based in the Ukraine.
People are also sending money directly through Airbnb by booking rooms that they don't intend to use. Airbnb has temporarily waived fees on Ukraine bookings, so it won't profit from this. Some people are turning to cryptocurrency to send money, but beware, crypto scams targeting Ukraine relief efforts are intensifying. The FTC sent out tips on how to donate safely, including checking out the organization online and searching for words like review, scam, or complaint before you send any money. Now, to ensure safeguards are in place, President Biden could soon sign an executive order that would establish possible restrictions for cryptocurrency. The directive would reportedly task federal agencies with assessing the risks and opportunities of digital currencies and explore the creation of a U.S. digital currency. Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies have experienced steep price drops over the past week, sparking concerns about the state and future of the digital assets. But experts say cryptocurrency may stabilize over time.
The dollar's going to be much more equal, much more liquid, much more widely accepted globally. But Bitcoin over time is going to become the standard digital asset.
Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle have expressed concerns Russia is using cryptocurrencies to evade crippling sanctions imposed by the U.S. As the fighting continues, cryptocurrencies have become a crucial lifeline for Ukraine, who have now raised almost $13 million in digital currency, some of which has gone to supply equipment to its forces. A leader of the far-right Proud Boys extremist group was arrested today on a conspiracy charge for his suspected role in a coordinated attack on the U.S. Capitol. Enrique Terrio was not there when the riot erupted on January 6, 2021, as he'd been arrested 2 days before on a vandalism charge. The riot-related charge is among the most serious filed so far. 11 members or associates of the anti-government Oath Keepers militia group have been charged with seditious conspiracy in the Capitol attack. More than 36 of the more than 750 people charged in the Capitol siege have been identified by federal authorities as Proud Boys leaders, members, or associates. Truckers from the People's Convoy made another loop around the D.C. Beltway today. More than 1,000 truckers and their supporters from around the country have been protesting COVID-19 mask and vaccine mandates, calling them government overreach. A spokesperson for the group said the cure was worse than the disease, pointed to an increase in suicide rates and divorces among truckers. The convoy has been protesting in the D.C. area for the past 3 days.
There is no science in the world, none, and I want to say it clearly, that supports these vaccine mandates or any mandates. COVID is done. It is over. People want to go on with their lives. The trucker is waging the scientific battle. The doctors and academic scientists, the NIH, CDC, FDA have failed to wage for the American people. We should praise the trucker.
This comes as 36 active duty airmen filed a lawsuit in federal court challenging the Biden administration's COVID-19 vaccine mandate for Air Force service members. According to a news release from the Alliance for Free Citizens, the 36 airmen applied for religious exemptions, but they were rejected. filed in the U.S. District Court of Omaha. It's the largest lawsuit filed to date against the recently proposed medical mandates on the U.S. Armed Forces. The vaccine mandate for military personnel was put in place in August. By December, the Air Force announced it had discharged 27 people for refusing to get the COVID vaccine. Classes were canceled today at Minneapolis public schools as teachers started their picket line. The teachers' unions and school district officials spent weeks negotiating, but they were unable to reach agreements on salaries, class sizes, and safe schools. As a result, nearly 30,000 students now don't know when they'll return to the classroom. In addition to the picket line, educators gathered for a rally in solidarity of their cause.
This is a fight for the working class. This is a fight for opportunity, not for the hedge funders, but for the working class.
In neighboring St. Paul, a deal reached late last night averted a strike there, though the issues in the two districts were largely the same. Later here at 4, the latest on